Yinzers and non-Yinzers alike this morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back to the show. This is episode 704 of the Two Dumb Yinzers. Welcome back, everybody.
What up?
Yes, welcome. It is, Mike, it's warming back up today. It's not going to be Speedo weather, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
But back up into the 40s today. Drop down, but it's getting closer, my man. And I know it's getting closer because this weekend we turn the clocks ahead. And that is always the telltale sign that things are moving along. And then, Mike, you have free agency in the NFL next week. It's all starting to come together. The winter blues are about to go by for the year. The weather's on the up and up. The clocks are moving forward. Football is a moving train. So it's going to be a nice weekend. We've got a lot of things that we're going to talk about today. First, I do want to say, everybody, when you do get a chance, go check out our website at www.thetwodumbusers.com. Mike works really hard. He puts a new mock draft up on the website. And how long? Like every week?
I think I try to do one a week before the draft.
So get over there because I know there's a lot of people they just love these mock drafts. I'm not particularly a fan, you know that, but I do know that a lot of people do enjoy them. They like them. And so do go check out every month. Mike, what is it? Is it supposed to be every Monday that they do go up? I know it went up a little later.
Yeah, it was supposed to be. I tried to put them up every Monday. I went a little bit later this week to allow for all the scouting services and mock draft services to update their draft boards after the combine and their player rankings. And so that's why it was late this week.
Mike, what do you do? How do you come up with your mock draft? You have a system. I'm just not a mock draft. I love 99% of football except for the mock draft. I just don't get it. Mike, what's the method of your madness?
What I've been doing on the first two or three, I was using PFF, using their mock draft system. They haven't updated their board, so this time I used Pro Football Network's draft boards, and I just set up a 7-round mock draft. I picked the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the computer picks all the other teams based on their needs, best player available, those parameters. One thing I do in my mock draft, I do not make trades on behalf of the Steelers because you don't know. I don't like predicting trades in mock drafts. I just like, give me 1 through whatever, and you just pick that team and go. So that's what I did for the Steelers. I didn't trade up. I didn't trade down. Let's let, the draft go the way it did, and 1 through 7 based on best player available or position of need. And I went through and hit off who I thought were the best players available and for best positions or best player at that position. If there was a tie, if we needed a wide receiver more than a D lineman, and I thought the wide receiver is better, I want wide receiver, stuff like that. So, I just go all 7 rounds, let it fly through, and I make the Steeler picks.
Now, let me ask you this. I know that the mock drafts are a big thing, a fun thing for people to do. Are you also into the fantasy leagues?
No. No, I used to be like, if I have friends that are running one, like a private league, I'll jump in if they need like someone to fill out a league. I did one a few years ago. I did back-to-back years. I finished first the first year and then like third the next year. So I'm not really big into it. So I don't like to waste people's times. But if someone needs me, I hop in and I do them.
That's the other thing that I have a hard time getting into is fantasy football. And here's why. I want to enjoy my football. And it's hard to enjoy football because the Steelers always got to keep games close, and you never know what they're going to do. So if I add the whole element of worrying about what everybody's doing this week and how everyone's performing, and if my guy did good and if my defense did good, but this guy, I would be a total nutcase by the time the Super Bowl came or playoffs came around. I really would. And I just, as I said, if I had a horse in the race, I would drive myself crazy. Again, the Steelers keep you up here as far as your stress level goes. Add that where I'm worrying and constantly thinking about other people and their players and their numbers. And my God, this team has to lose, but I need this guy to do well. I'm just not. I'm not built for that. I'm not built for
No.
that. I could talk about
Yep.
it all day, but when it comes down to it, and I have a horse in the race, I would be a nut. I would be an
Yeah,
absolute
like when
nut.
I have to like root against a Steeler because they're on someone else's team
Yeah.
because I got to win my fantasy matchup, I'm like, no. And I think fantasy football has kind of ruined people's evaluation of players. They'll go, well, oh, this guy's putting up great fantasy numbers, therefore he's a good quarterback. Like, no, you watch them play, they're not good. People look at fantasy numbers and think that correlates to being a good player. It's not. I think fantasy football has ruined sports discourse in that way. I think it's fun though because it adds people to want to watch the game that get into it. So it gets eyes that way, but it ruins like the discourse of the game. Like people want to look at fantasy numbers as that's like some great arbitrator of who's a good player or not.
I'm not the smartest guy. I think I would lose all sight on
Yeah.
reality. I would be like, well, is this real? Is this not real? Is these the real numbers? I'd be out there, man. Mike, let's start this show. I do want to start. Listen, we do have plenty of football, plenty of Steelers, plenty of NFL talk coming up here, guys. But let me get in here first, Mike. I want to make these kids recognized and known. These are the people in the high school state playoffs that are starting today, Mike. Today and tomorrow. I'm gonna just kind of give you the games of the teams from right here in the valley, right here in the Beeve. There's plenty of teams that are from the Whippeal, plenty of teams from the Pittsburgh region, but I'm going to give you the teams that are just right here in our backyard, Mike. I'm going to start with the gals. The girls basketball starts today. The Elwood City team, they take on Karnes City at Karnes City. That will be at 7:00 p.m. The Southside girls will be at Lakeview. Excuse me. That will also be a 7 p.m. start. Rochester is at Red Bank Valley. That game is a 7 p.m. start. And finally, the Aliquippa girls, the girls that won the Whippeal Gold. As a matter of fact, they were the only Beaver County team that did win the Whippeal Gold this year. The Aliquippa girls, they will be at home hosting Char Valley today. And then tomorrow's for the girls, Blackhawk. Blackhawk will be hosting Franklin. That game's at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I want to say good luck to all the gals moving forward right here from the Beeve, going into the state playoffs, Mike. And then also the boys, not as many teams from here in the county, but Beaver, which our great county is named after. For some of you that might have thought it was a vagina, it's not. So Beaver, they play Martinsburg Central. That is today at 7:00 p.m. Westmont Hilltop plays at Aliquippa. That's the boys team. That's tomorrow at 1. And finally, Elwood City at Mercer. That is tomorrow at 1 o'clock as well. Again, there's many more Pittsburgh region teams, but these are the teams right here within our breathing range. I do want to say to all those girls teams, all those boys teams, and all the Whippeal teams all together from the western part of the state, go kick some ass, bring some gold home. I know that some of these teams are really good. And you know what? Some of the teams on the other side are really good as well. But at the end of the day, that's why we're there. That's why they're there. So go get the win, bring home the gold, baby. Good luck to all the Whippeal boys and girls basketball teams starting state playoffs today.
Kick some ass, baby.
Kicking a little ass today, baby. Yes. And then before you know it, Mike, it's, and then you think of it like in terms of school. School. I mean, baseball season's next. And when you were in school, that's when it was over. Baseball came, the weather got warm. And next thing you know, it was summertime. So, I mean, here we go. Another year, basically, under the belt, Mike. Heading into spring again here in just another 13 days, give or take. But the clocks do go ahead tomorrow night. So it's early or whatever you would be. You didn't set your clock ahead. Mike, let's talk about these other things. Then we're going to get a full blast for the duration. The Pirates, they get another win on the hill, Mike, yesterday. Paul Skeens goes 3 innings, gives it 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, and has 3 strikeouts. Peguero hits his first home run of the Grapefruit League. The Pirates beat the Orioles 9-5. They play all through the weekend, Mike, that starts today at 1:05. They do play Philadelphia. And tomorrow they play the Braves at 1:05. And then also Sunday they play the Detroit Tigers also at 1:05. That is all 1:05 games throughout the weekend. If you are following your Pittsburgh Pirates, I'm telling you, Mike, watch out for these teams. Watch out for this team. Watch out for this team. watch out for this Pittsburgh Pirates team. I already got the tickets on order,
Yeah.
so don't even worry about your Super Bowl ticket, buddy. I got you. Or your
You got me. All right, I appreciate
that's even Mike. That's even more unlikely if the Steelers or if the Pirates go to the Super Bowl. But I got our World Series.
Well,
tickets, I'm sorry.
They might make it to the Super Bowl before the World Series. That's how the Buccos operate. But with that pitching staff, man, anything is possible for this.
That's what I always say. That Arizona
pitching
Diamondbacks,
yep.
Diamondbacks with Johnson and Schilling, Mike, that was not a great baseball team.
Yep.
But they won the World Series.
Yeah. Like if you have good pitching, good goaltending, and good quarterback play, you can go far. You can go really far.
Absolutely. Good morning to over enthusiastic Doge leader Kate. As we were riding, wait, will Cheeseburger, Mike, is cable plugged in cause any problems? Do you know?
It did just now. It would just slow down just a second right now, but you're back.
All right, but I would assume that it's probably that cable. All right, well, we'll continue, but if it keeps messing up, maybe I'll pull that. All right. Okay. Caleb says he wants a triple cheeseburger with mozzarella sticks. It's called a Jerome Bettis special. Good morning. What's up, my brother? Back. We could have, you know what? We missed you yesterday. We did talk about Mike frolicking around in the parking lot in his Speedo. We could have used some of your Doge to make sure things were a little bit more efficient around here. But you know what? Even Caleb needs a day off. And you know what? I'm okay with that.
You were out there frolicking too with like what were you saying, ball sack meat hanging out?
Yeah, my nut meat was hanging out everywhere.
Yeah, nut meat. I couldn't remember what you were saying. Nut meat hanging out.
You just wait, Mike. It's getting warmer, and you know how things get around here when things get warm. Also, Mike, the Pirates, they again will be in action all through the weekend. Penguins are back in action tonight. They take on Las Vegas, the Golden Knights in Las Vegas. That game is a late game starting at 10 o'clock p.m. The Penguins come in with a 24-30-10 record. The Golden Knights have a 37-18-6 record. What else do they got going on over here? The Penguins, they'll be playing tonight against them, and then again they play Sunday over the weekend. You get a double hit of your Pittsburgh Penguins after having about 4 days off between their last game and tonight. They'll play tonight, and then also they have the Wild at Minnesota tomorrow at 3:30. Mike, yes, this was one of my favorite parts, and okay, so on the 21st. NHL deadline today. I just want to throw that out there.
Yes.
The 21st, like the 14th annual Penguins charity game. I dig these. Do you ever watch that game where they sell those charity bags?
Yeah.
And they have jerseys and autographed pucks and so many different cool things. I did just want to throw that out there, guys. On the 21st of this month, also, they have the 14th annual Penguins charity game, and they sell those charity bags. It all goes for a great cause, the Mario Lemieux Foundation, so on, guys. So and again, even if you don't go or participate, I like watching these, Mike, because people all game. They donate and they get these cool, huge bags full of all kind of Pittsburgh Penguin stuff. And if you're a hockey fan, Penguin fan for that matter, I think that you would certainly love it. But nonetheless, guys, that is always a big thing here in Pittsburgh. Besides for the shirts off the back game at the end of the year, Mike, I really like this.
Yeah, those are my two favorite giveaways that the Penguins do. Or not giveaways, but like contests that they do. And the charity one's always cool because you always have a chance of getting like that Crosby signed jersey or the Malkin signed jersey. So, and you can win one for like, $50 and then boom, hey, that's the one that, happens to have the Crosby one in there. It's always a good night. It's always a fun night when they have that. And speaking of the trade deadline, the Penguins trade Anthony Beauvillier, whatever his name is, he's no longer here. He went to the Washington Capitals for a second-round pick in this year's draft. We didn't have a second-round pick this year, so we swung him to get a second-round pick. And being able to get a second-round pick for this guy, a guy who's just been bouncing around the league the past couple years, damn good investment from Kyle Dubas. I like it. This guy's best year he had was in 2019-2020 with 39 points. This year it's 13 goals, 7 assists. We were getting a second rounder for him. If they're able to trade Raquel, oh my God, the return for him is going to be crazy. GMs this year in the NHL, they are drinking. I don't know what they're on, but my God, they're just throwing around draft picks and high prospects like they're going out of style. So this is the day for Kyle Dubas to replenish the draft picks and replenish the prospect pool. So it's going to be a fun one if you're a hockey fan.
Yeah, so if hockey is your drug of choice, everybody, today is a big day for you. Trade deadlines, you're going to see, players move around the league. That is today, the deadline for the NHL, Mike. The season it's wrapping up quick. I got to be honest with you. Every time I look at the schedule, I'm thinking, geez, they only have X amount of games.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're right down around 13, give or take now. So
somewhere around there.
The NHL playoffs, some of the most exciting playoffs in the country, they do start soon, and that's always a lot of fun, Mike. We'll now move over to the hardwood briefly. Boston College at Pitt tomorrow at 6:00 p.m. Thank goodness the horrific season that is Pitt basketball is going to finally be over.
Almost.
Mike, 6:00 tomorrow, last game of the season. Boston College at the Pete. And I don't think the Panthers qualified for anything, to be honest with you.
No.
Had a terrible, terrible season. I don't even remember the last time they won, but they do. The Pitt basketball team, quite upsetting this season. I thought they would do a little better than what they did.
Yeah, so did I. I thought they would be a whole hell of a lot better than what they are right now. This is the way they played last year. My God, it might be time for Cable to go.
Maybe. Guys, let's get over to football.
Yes.
My skin was starting to crawl. Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick, I'll say hi to Mark Malone.
Mark Malone, he says, get the Scarlet and handlebar stash going, Mike.
Hell yeah.
It'll go good with a Speedo and some yellow tinted sunglasses.
You know what? You guys are starting to sell me on the Scullet and the handlebar mustache.
You know what? I knew once you were the Speedo, you would then be okay with everything else.
Yeah.
We'll get you a Speedo that doesn't have runners next time. That's for everybody else around you.
Yeah, fair enough.
But good morning to our friend Mark Malone as well.
How about some Speedos and an ashless chaps and a handlebar mustache and the yellow tinted.
You really are turning into Big Bear, aren't you?
Yes, I am, baby. Give me some nipple clamps. Let's go, boys.
Caleb says Thursday is a Doge holiday. All right, I can respect that. I can respect that. Guys, let's jump into the NFL here. We got Steelers, but let's jump into the NFL first itself, Mike. Trey Hendrickson, the sack leader from the 2024-2025 this past season, he has requested a trade out of Cincinnati. Surprise, surprise. Mike, this is what I'm thinking. If we play our cards right, it's just a matter of time before Joe Burrow is ours, right? Nobody wants to stay in Cincinnati.
Right? It's only a matter of time before he requests a trade. And, he's seeking a trade. Their other D lineman, Chris Hubbard, was it Hubbard? Yeah, yes. Hubbard retired. I can't remember if it's Chris Hubbard or not. But, yeah, he retired. Hendrickson's asking for a trade. I think it was Mina Kimes from ESPN. She's like, okay, apparently the plan in Cincinnati is to win every game 39-40. Just put up as much points as you can because, my God, Mike Hilton's going to be gone. They're going to have no one on that defense.
My only concern is, Mike, is who they bring in might be an improvement. That's the only thing that I'm thinking. Yeah, they're losing all these people, but it's not off a good defense at all. I would be happy to lose most of these guys.
Yeah, because, the only thing is that, Hubbard and Hendrickson were their entire defensive front. Their linebacking core is non-existent, and their secondary is suspect at best. So they're loaded up on the offense side of the ball. The Steelers are loaded up on the defense side of the ball. Combine the two teams, and you got a pretty good football club there, boys. But yeah, Cincinnati, they got to do smart signings on the defense, but I don't trust them. Hopefully they do just waste all their money on the offense and give up a shit ton of points and hope Burrow can stay healthy for 2 years in a row. And that's the X factor there. And T. Higgins really doesn't even want to stay there anymore. So you're going to have a disgruntled wide receiver, a Joe Burrow that you don't know if it's going to be healthy or not. And then really you got Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is the only constant solid on that team right now.
Yeah. And it's just crazy because that one guy could make up so much, so much ground.
He's arguably he could be, make an argument that he's one of the most valuable players in the league. He makes the offense go.
Absolutely. The guy
is Triple Crown winner.
My point exactly.
Yep.
Mark Malone says, "Dude, I'd swear I would do it if I was going bald. It's a gold." I agree, Mike. I think you're really you would really be
I don't.
missing out if you didn't do the
Yeah,
skullet. I
I know,
really
but
do.
I have a really good head shape for a bald head.
But you don't
So
know
that
what you're. If you, I mean, your head shape for a skullet could be even better. You just don't know. You never did it.
I know, I know.
You could
I
be the
just
next. You could be the next Hulk Hogan.
like I was going through the other day. I was thinking like who like famous people with skullets. Like the ones that came to mind off the top of my head were Hulk Hogan and Metallica's drummer Lars Ulrich. But he wears a hat all the time. You know, those
Yeah.
are the two that I can think of that have skullets.
You're gonna rise to the cream of the crop before you know it. And
Like
that with that
if
group,
I
believe
could
me.
have their money, I would fucking do it in a
Well,
heartbeat.
I mean, everybody would do the skullet then. The fact of the
Yeah.
matter is you just have to live life with the skullet. But I got to tell you, Mike, you do that competition. I like your chance. I like your chance against those two, especially Lars is a munchkin and Hulk. I mean, come on.
Hulk,
Jen,
he's going to have a heart attack any day now. He's looking rough.
good morning, Jen. Not
What
on the
up, Jen?
board. Jen says,
See,
bald is beautiful,
she
Mike.
knows. She
She
knows. Like,
says this.
why would I, ruin that with a skullet?
See, I just think that's one of the nice things that women say, because if a woman goes bald, the men go, you know what, women, bald is beautiful. I just think it's a thing that women say to make us not feel so bad, to be
I don't
honest.
know. Like I saw what was that movie when Natalie Portman went
No,
bald?
no,
She
no.
was
I'm
hot.
talking about Jamie from down the street. If Jamie down the street goes bald and is walking around the mall, then that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about Jada Pinkett Smith or any of these people.
Right? Okay. Okay.
Every person USA. But anyway, I do dig, Mike. I think you would do great with the mullet. Either way, you were as far as Jen says, you were a beautiful, beautiful
Well,
person.
I am.
And I'm
I
going to
know
take her
this.
word because I believe Jen. Mark says, Mike, I'm serious. Your eyebrows would complement the handlebar and skull it. You look like a mean
I
motherfucker.
want to like when my eyebrows, if I don't trim them, they get all fucking angry, pointed and stuff. Yeah, I just walk around like,
I would take you everywhere with me. I'd probably pretend you were my
yeah.
bodyguard.
Oh God! First sign of trouble, I'm out of there.
You're right behind you. How do you
Like
knocking you over?
I couldn't like my shoulders. I ain't got no punches there. You know,
Yeah.
I got nothing.
Hey, what's up? Tortilla Jackson. She wants your skull, bro. Make a move. Also, Jen ends out saying, she says, hey, I started talking Nutrafol to grow my hair, taking Nutrafol to grow my hair. You know what? We're not young people anymore.
Nope.
I certainly acknowledge this. And you know what? You got to do what you got to do. It's everyone for themselves in this world
Right?
sometimes.
It's short hair, Charlize Theron. Yeah, yeah. Oh my God. Right on, brother.
Yeah.
Right on.
Some chicks could pull it off. Jamie down the street can't believe me. Back to the NFL, guys. Mike, your off-season hopeful, I guess you would call it.
Yeah.
Captain Christian Kirk, Mike, goes to the Houston Texans. This is for a 2026 7th round pick. Mike, this is my point. How in the hell did we end up with nothing last year? The way that, I mean, receivers are always on the move. I mean, these guys are getting traded for 7th round draft picks, 5th round draft picks, and here we go through into the season last year with absolutely no wide receiver too. Mike, what's going on? Listen, I'm just saying, I find it very odd that happened to us the way that it happened last year. There's no way it's going to happen this year. There's a million free agents out there. We're going to get it fixed. But, Mike, again, 7th round for a guy that you would have loved to have on his team. The other guy that we would have loved to have on a team that moved the other day, he was a 5th round. How are we going to make this work in our favor?
This Christian Kirk one, it surprised me, especially because it was a trade within the division.
Yeah, big time, right?
And for only a 7th. So what that's telling me is that I looked into it, but I couldn't find any information. So this is all just me assuming is that the Houston Texans are taking on his entire $24 million salary, and that's how they were able to get the 7th round pick for him. Their GM down in Jacksonville, their new GM is just clearing house. You know, he cleared off $60 million in cap space by trading Kirk, releasing some other good players. So it was just wild that
and you really had your eye on him, like
I
for
did
some
too.
reason last year, this year, you went on about this.
Just because like he's a productive receiver, but you know, for $24 million, we can find a better value elsewhere. But he was one of the guys I had because I know, like the old regime down
Mike, who
in
does he remind
Jacksonville.
you of? I'm not a big fan of Jacksonville. When you
Mm,
say Kirk, I'm thinking to myself, I have an idea. I seen my highlight foot, but what does he bring to the table? Who does he compare
I
with
can't.
when
I
you're
don't have a
trying to put?
player comp off the top of my head, but he's a guy who can play. He plays mostly inside, but he can play outside too. He's just a sure-handed guy, pretty good route runner. He's just a productive NFL receiver, but for $24 million this year, I'm kind of glad we didn't get him in the trade. That's why I was hoping he'd go through free agency and get him a whole hell of a lot cheaper. Now, if we don't get someone like Slayton, who I think we can easily get, then I'm just gonna start worrying, like, what are we gonna do in this position? But it
And
goes back to a lot of things of, like, we don't have a quarterback right now, and do
And I'm going to get
receivers
to
want to
that
come here?
on the very next person. So we'll just kind of hold off on that
Yeah.
for a second. But what is it, Mike? I mean, we spoke. I gave you a long list of wide receivers that are in the free agent market the other day. What is it about the Slaytons or the Kirks that have you reeling opposed to somebody like the bigger names that are just more known names? I guess being more known
Yeah.
doesn't mean more productive, but
Yeah.
you've leaned that way. You've leaned toward Kirk. You've leaned in that direction opposed
Mhm.
to some of the bigger names. And what is that? Why does that seem like smart moves to you?
One, just the cost is so much better. So then we have more money to spend elsewhere. And these guys are productive receivers. It's not like we're getting, going after chasing guys like, like 100 yards a year, like, like Van Jefferson. These are guys that are solid, dependable receivers opposite George Pickens, to where, George is going to draw most of the covers. These guys are good route runners to where they can beat their one-on-one guy. They're good in space. You don't have to worry about, them showing up game in, game out. They're going to be there. They're going to have the right headspace. That's why people like Slayton and Kirk, those lower tier guys, they don't have that diva attitude like a Devontae Adams, a Stephon Diggs, those big name guys. We already have that in George. I don't want two of those guys. I want someone who's going to know the role, that, hey, I'm coming in to be a number two and rotate in and out of the slot depending on, like, the other guys in the formation. Someone who will just be able to make plays.
Mike, I don't think there's a Steeler fan that's in their right mind that wants another diva wide receiver. You know what I mean? I think what you're saying is making a lot of sense, because you want the best possible guy, but again, you don't want a guy that's gonna bring drama and problems and things on the field and walking past a live fumble, as Deontay Johnson did 2 seasons ago. I mean, those are the things that we want to eliminate, of course, while trying to improve this offense. So, why not cut that fat before it even, nip that in the bud and work on getting some of these guys who aren't as much as divas, as you will, if you will. Jen, let's go. She says, let's hope I don't grow facial hair and chest hair. Let's hope. Also, Color House, what's up, brother?
What's up, bro?
Mark Malone, well, that would be a drawback, wouldn't it, Jen? Yes, it would be. I think that is the hair, the facial hair and chest hair they're still talking about.
Yeah.
Mike, this next receiver that I'm going to bring up, and this is what is said about him, because the GM in his city for his team is saying that this guy wants to play in warm weather. This guy wants to play where there's a stable quarterback situation. Mike, is it safe to say we could nix the idea of bringing DK Metcalf to the Steelers? He's a name and a body that I keep seeing on everything that I pull up. This guy is, he could be a Steeler. He could land in the Steelers. Again, he wants to play in a warm city. And two, he wants to play where there's a stable quarterback situation. That pretty much eliminates the Steelers, correct?
Yeah, that eliminates Steelers and in the price tag plus production of like $30 million a year, and then rumored for a first and a third for him. Yeah, Pittsburgh is out of the market on him. Yeah, so just look for these lower tier guys. Let's go there.
Is it Torsia?
Cooper Kupp is another one there.
I keep calling this person Tortilla. Please, if I'm saying your name wrong, please correct me. Because if I'm calling you Tortilla and your name is not Tortilla, maybe. Yeah, I'm thinking Torsia right now.
I'm thinking Torsia. I'm terrible at pronouncing names, so I'm just.
And I don't want to continue to call you Tortilla if that's not your name. So if I'm wrong, please let me know. Torsia, I'm gonna go with that for now. Torsia says, "You guys think we could land Cooper Kupp for a future sixth? Would help us being a being a quarterback and having Cup and Pickens to throw to, I think it could eliminate some concerns for signing players. I would love to have Cooper Cup. The guy's a baller. He's a gamer. He brings it every game, Mike. The guy doesn't bring problems, no baggage.
Yeah.
I would not mind him at all. I would like Cooper Cup. You know, of course, there's many targets out there right now, and I would love to go through the names and see who are serious considerations for the Steelers. But he's in that group of guys. There's probably about 5 or 6 guys that I would just love to have, and Cooper Cup certainly fits that category.
Yeah.
Mike, what's your thoughts on Cooper Cup?
I like Cooper Cup. We've talked about him before in the show. I would like him. You got to convince the Rams to eat some of that salary cap, and then you got to convince Cooper Cup to renegotiate and redo a contract when he gets here, because $29 million this year, $27 million next year, guys, hasn't played a full season in it'll be 3 years now. But when he's healthy, he's still a very productive receiver. He played 12 games last year, 710 yards, 6 touchdowns. That's what I'm hoping just out of a number 2 through 17 game season opposite George Pickens.
Yeah.
Now with that kind of production, if he can be healthy through all 17 games, otherworldly production you're getting out of him. And then you imagine what George would be doing. This guy's a great route runner. He's, a no-nonsense player. This is someone I would like someone like him, Chris Godwin. But I don't think we're going to get Godwin. Cooper Cup, I would like. If it's just a 6th-round pick, fuck yeah, sign me up and then renegotiate that contract or convince them to keep some of that contract. I would love Cooper Cup.
All right, tortilla. So it's actually tortilla. I don't feel as bad now. Tortilla Jackson says, just didn't know how to spell it when I made the. I totally understand.
Respect that. I respect that.
I totally get it. Corey, man, I'm worried about how long it's taken us to figure out our quarterback situation. We're losing wide receiver talent by the day now, and nobody will want to be here without a guy in place. Corey, you're right. I think at the end of the day, and you know what? And the more and more I think about it, I think that I'm okay with this. I think, Mark, he replied, it only took about 20 years last time.
Right. You can tell that you can tell the fans who've lived through it.
At first I was just like, screw everybody, screw everything. Just go get our franchise. Do whatever you got to do. Sell your firstborn, whatever it is you have to do to bring that guy here. Do it. But the more I'm looking at things, and the more you got to look at things realistically, and I'm okay with this. I don't dislike Justin Fields behind center. I think that he certainly leaves some things to be desired. But you know what? People were saying, let's give him that chance. He did not play bad to start off the season. He was, 4-2 to start the first 6 games. Yeah. I think he had 10 touchdowns. But getting the ball down the field and into the end zone certainly was the glaring problem on this offense. But that went for both quarterbacks. So, I mean, how much of that goes into the offensive line, the coordinator, not having a number 2 wide receiver, a lot of things. But you're right. We kind of have to start building this sculpture at some point. Because, again, you wait around too long. All these wide receivers, they're going elsewhere. Mike, you like Christian Kirk. He's gone. You like Deebo Samuel. He's gone. You like this guy. So we do have to start, again, free agency here in just, I don't know, what is it now, 5-6 days away. Starts on Wednesday, guys, at 4:00. This is going to answer some questions to see how we're going to attack the draft. So, there's a lot of moving pieces in place, but I agree with you. I want to know what's going on, what our quarterback situation is, and wide receivers are certainly going to want to know that information as well, Mike, while talking about possibly becoming a Steeler.
Exactly, yeah, because they want to know what kind of offense, the vision of the offense is going to be. And, with the quarterback situation, that's going to be huge. Are they going to be allowed to throw across the middle this year? What am I looking at here? Yeah, I know I got Pickens on the opposite side, but who's throwing the ball to us? That's key. And oh God, like you said, just I'm glad they didn't do the 5th-year option on Fields, because that would have been $25 million for 1 year for him. But at the same time, it's like, shit, you kind of wish they did and just eat that cap hit for this year, so you would know, okay, I already know what I'm spending on money. I can tell receivers this is who we have. So it was kind of like a double-edged sword, not giving him that 5th-year option. Right now, I'm starting to lean towards, fuck, we should have done that. So we
Jen,
know who we have.
Jen says Tomlin will sell it to the wide receiver. He will spin it to his favor. He does pretty good job at doing recruiting, and that's why I thought that Kurt had a good chance too, Mike, because we had a couple players on this team that was also
Okay,
lobbying for him as well.
yeah. Deshaun Elliott, man, he's
Yeah.
my new favorite Steeler. He's on top of this.
I love
Anytime there's
Elliott.
someone available, he's like, you're a Steeler now. You're coming here.
Corey says, Mark Malone, I get it, but come learn from our mistakes. How much longer does the playoff drought need to be before you do? It's stupid. Caleb says, getting my car worked on, and the only thing near the dealership is a Red Lobster. At 58 years old, I bring down the average age to 66. Man, that sounds so good. I've been craving some Red Lobster for some time. Mark Malone says, I'm sorry. Corey, I advocate for drafting quarterbacks. You know what you really do, Mark? You do always say, just keep drafting quarterbacks. You're going to eventually hit on one. You know what? Law of average, you're not wrong. At some point, you're eventually going to get your guy. And Tortilla Jackson also says red zone offense, I'm sorry, was horrendous, which truly was. There's a lot of things that go into that. Guys, we had rookies. We had two rookies on starting on offensive line. We had Broderick Jones, I mean, come on, he doesn't know his right from his left is what I'm getting from this situation. So you had Jones going back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
You were switching, plug and playing, rookies, injuries. It just didn't stop with this offensive line. You had that. Again, then your number 2 receiver is Calvin Austin, which he's a good receiver. He's a 3, he's a slot guy. He's not your 2. You don't have a number 2 receiver. 3, if you don't have a sure quarterback situation, that plays to it. And then, so there was a lot of things that went into that, and you hope to see it improve this year, but it's certainly going to improve, Mike, with personnel change. No two ways about that. And of course, the offensive coordinator. This is the first year for him. Who knows if this offensive coordinator even works for this group of guys? We don't know. They finished the same way that they finished the year before, 10-7, one and done. So, did we really learn anything? Did we really make any improvements? I don't know, but that all has to change, Tortilla. We do have to get into the end zone. It can't be all 3 points. You can't compete in a league like the NFL by not scoring touchdowns. You just can't. Buffalo's going to put up 50 points on, any given time. Kansas City's going to find ways to win football games. These teams are really good, and you can't leave the field with field goals all the time. It just doesn't work. Jen says, I'm curious what the backup quarterback will look like. Even if we sign Fields, we can't have Kyle Allen. Did we bring in some
Skylar Thompson?
From Miami.
Skylar Thompson. He's like going to be like right now.
Yeah.
Right now you pencil him in as like
he's going to linger to be that third spot. Yeah. I bet you Skylar
he'll be that
Thompson.
third. Yeah.
Corey says, Mark, the Browns are still using your method. But they're cursed. He says, amen, Tortilla.
Guys, I have something for Mark Malone. I just did it real quick. I just did a special mock draft for Mark Malone. Give me 1 second here. Let me pull it up. Oh, I should have had it queued up. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. We don't mind hearing your nose whistle.
I know. We got round 1, Shedeur Sanders. Round 2, Jalen Milroe.
No, there you go.
You know what? Fuck it. One of those has to work.
One of these guys got to do the job, right?
One of these guys got to do the job. Like I thought about doing that as a spoof mock, but you know what? Screw it. Fuck it, boys. Let's roll with it, Mark. You're talking me into it there, buddy. Just get draft 2 or 3 of them this year.
Shedeur Sanders is such a wild card. Early on, they spoke so highly. Now they're speaking low. He's such a wild card. I don't know what to think, Mike. If he wasn't such a novelty player because he's Deion Sanders' son, and he went to Colorado and did that whole Colorado thing, I would look at it. You got to look. He's the novelty to me. I have a hard time. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I know he's good. I've seen him play well, but again, out west, competition isn't great. Mike, I wouldn't touch Shedeur Sanders with a 10-foot pole.
He's a very accurate quarterback, but then you watch him his feet get sloppy sometimes. But he takes what the defense gives him. He's not really like that big mobile athletic quarterback, but he can scramble around there. But the thing is, he scrambles east-west and runs into trouble that way. But on the other hand, when he does that, he can find the deep ball down the field because he's a good arm. You look at him, you see 3 or 4 things that you're like, wow, this guy can really play. Then you see a couple other things that make you question, was it the talent or that he's playing against or what? He has to go into a very good situation. I think all the quarterbacks in this draft have to get drafted to good situations to have a chance. I don't think any of the top 3 quarterbacks have that ability to turn a terrible franchise around the way we saw like CJ Stroud, his rookie year, turn around the Houston Texans, the way we saw Jaden Daniels this year. I don't think any of those guys have that ability. I think they have ability to be like top 15 quarterbacks eventually when they develop, but I don't think any of them were those true franchise X factor guys.
Derpy says yes. Mike did announce that earlier, the late Penguin trade to the Capitals. Thank you, Derpy, for the information. Also, Tortilla said they want the QB room to be similar, to all be a similar prototype. If we resign Fields, we'll probably get someone like Huntley. I think I really like Drew Lock or maybe Winston as QB2. Derpy says, "Who the heck is Tyler?" Derpy, you know who Tyler So is. Come on, man.
Come on now. He's like the 90-year-old quarterback who was injured a lot. You know,
Mark Malone says, "I would do it. Not a big fan of Sanders or Milrow." And then Corey says, "Real suggestion: if we signed 2 receivers and a running back in the offseason, we could afford to take Dart in the first and a defensive tackle in the second. Then anything we may want after that, in theory, of course." Mike,
like on paper, that's not a bad idea. On paper, it's not a bad idea. I don't.
We haven't even started talking about the Steelers yet. Let's get into the Steelers. That was all NFL. That was all these. That was all the receivers, all the players moving around. Mike, this is my problem with what Corey's saying. Is it is out of the bag now. The fact that we are interested, the fact that I just love Jackson Dart out of Ole Miss. The fact that that everyone's saying that this is who the Steelers are kind of trying to keep the down low on. This is pissing me off because nobody was talking about Jackson Dart 2 weeks ago, Mike. He was a 2nd or 3rd round pick. Then all of a sudden, I fell in love with this quarterback, and I said, this is going to be our franchise quarterback. If we can get this guy in the 2nd round, we're going to be made in the shade. Mike, somebody's going to screw us. What does the Pittsburgh Steelers have to do if, in fact, they fall in love with Jackson Dart and they want to get that guy? How do you maneuver yourself to get into a position from 20, Mike, to try to figure out what it is? If you wanted to trade up, if you, I know that Omar Khan sits there with ample draft picks in his pocket at all times. What would have to go down for the Steelers to make a serious move to get a rookie quarterback next season in a draft like Jackson Dart?
Oh God. Because I was thinking about this because you have teams that need a quarterback. The Titans, the Browns, they pick 1 and 2. And the Jets, they pick 1, 2, 3. Raiders at 6. Jets at 7. I'm sorry, it was the Giants at 3. Jets at 7. All need quarterbacks. Right. Glaring needs. Now, like Cam Ward's going 1st overall. He's going to Tennessee, or there's talk about the Giants moving up. He's going there. I don't see Cleveland taking a quarterback for some reason. I just don't see them.
All they do, though, bro. Look at all them quarterbacks over the years.
I know. And if that happens, like it's right now, I think it's going to be Cam and Shador 1, 2, and then like Dart. I can see the Raiders maybe looking at him, the Jets possibly. If not, he falls and he starts falling, and then one of those teams that already picked, they get a little antsy, like, oh, we kind of want a quarterback. We want to get him. And I can see them trading back into the 1st round and leapfrogging, Pittsburgh, getting into like the top 15, top 18 to grab a quarterback.
See how this mediocrity is killing us?
Yeah, because you're stuck in an area. You're stuck in it. You think you're good enough.
We're in QB limbo. We really are.
Yeah.
Like, and because of that, we're not good enough. And we're not bad enough. It's very difficult for us to get that guy that we want to get as far as a quarterback in the draft, and that's unfortunate. And they just keep going to all these terrible teams and burning out their careers early. And it's unfortunate because a team like the Steelers, we would capitalize. We would take a good young quarterback and do some things. But Browns is the Browns. Jen says they do Browns things, Mike.
Yeah, like now, like if Pittsburgh really thinks that Dart can be the guy, trade up and get him. Like if you think he is, trade up and get him. Like I didn't like the Kenny Pickett pick, but they thought he would be their guy, so they went out and get it from like a.
And you should feel a lot more confident going after a player like Jackson Dart than a Kenny Pickett, in my opinion, right?
Yeah, I would, because he's had more than like one solid year of great success. Every year he's been productive and's gotten better every year. I like if any team thinks a quarterback's their guy or any player thinks their guy, trade up and get him. I may not like it, but I understand it and I respect the move. You're doing something that you think is going to help your team. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, admit that you fucked up and hurry up and correct it as fast as you can. So if they think any of these guys are there or can be a potential guy to turn around the franchise, move heaven and earth to get him. Build the team in free agency and then go out and get your guy at the draft.
Mike's Corey says it's all my fault. I talked him into existence. He didn't even care about rookie quarterbacks until this year, until he said something.
Yeah.
I got to be honest. This Jackson Dart, man. And as I said, you know, Mike, we've been watching these quarterbacks for years, and again, we lived through the '80s and the '90s and the terrible quarterbacks, and then it got good, then it got bad, then this, you know, and again, you watch. You watch certain things. You watch for the X factor, in my opinion, with quarterbacks especially, because there's so much that goes into being not only a good quarterback, but a quarterback that could bring your team to that level in this league. Where, in my opinion, Mike, there's only about 5 of these elite quarterbacks on the planet for whatever reason. But this guy Jackson Dart, I see that in him. I see the X factor. I see it in his eyes. And as you said at the combine, he just has that. When Ben walked off that field in Super Bowl 43 to talk to Coach Tomlin about the next play, the big play in the Super Bowl, there was not a worry in his eye. He there was no question in his mind what he was going to do. And guess what? He went out there and did it. We won that Super Bowl. That's the look I look for in quarterbacks, young quarterbacks' eyes. Out of all those guys I've seen, you see a lot of different players in different players. You see Cam Ward, he kind of resembles this guy in the way he plays, thinks, monitors receivers, everything he does, picks up defenses. This guy, I'm telling you, this Jackson Dart, Mike, he right here, right in the eyes is what I recognize. I see this guy. There's no fear. He's very confident. He understands what he's doing. He, as I said, and I could be wrong. I could be wrong at the end of the day, but I feel that Jackson Dart would be a great Pittsburgh Steeler, and I think he could certainly go under the radar, Mike, if we don't get him, end up somewhere else and giving somebody a damn good quarterback for a career.
Like Tortilla said in the comments, I top second round, that might be where he goes, like a team that missed out on Cam Ward, because I think Cam Ward is quarterback 1 in this draft. I think Jackson Dart's 2, Shador's 3. Now the gap between Shador and Dart, how big is it? I don't think it's that big of a gap, but I think there's a gap there. But I think teams are going to go for Shador. And one of the teams that didn't get them in the top 10, I can see them trading up early in the second round to get him, to make sure they get him. And that's what Pittsburgh would have to do. You know, go out and get a wide receiver in round 1 and trade up for him in round 2.
Tortilla, I'm still not sold on Arthur Smith. I don't know. That's just me. I don't know. To me, he's still a generic face guy on make a coach on Madden, make a coach mode. Although he has no facial features to me, but I'm still not sold on Arthur Smith. But he's only been around a year. Let's give him a chance. I know he did very well with that Tennessee Titan team a few years back. Went to Atlanta, not so much, but I guess we're gonna give everybody a shot. Let's do it this year. We are rebuilding, I guess. Mike, let me get into a couple other things as we move along here. Yesterday, we talked about the news of the day. Yesterday, as far as the Steelers, Cole Holcomb, reconstructing his contract to make things a little bit better for everybody. Mike, I'm going to do this right here today with Tortilla as my witness, with Mark Malone as my witness, Caleb, Jen, Corey, Derpy, everybody else on the board today. Mike, I'm going to play. I want to make a wager with you. I promise you. I promise you, and I'm so confident that I'm willing to put money. Mike, Cole Holcomb will not last all season. He will not. Yesterday, he was putting a lot of stock in him, saying, "Well, we don't have any other linebackers, so you need." Mike, this guy ain't gonna make it past week 5. He hasn't been healthy in the NFL in years. He had injuries in Washington. He came here. He's been out for 2 years since he's been here. There's no way, Mike. I will put money on it that this guy does not make it through the season. I promise. I bet everything on that. There's no way. This guy's never been not injured in his whole career.
He had 2 years, two out of the 5 years he was eligible to play where he
still
made
below
it.
500.
I know, right? I know. Oh God, if he's the full-time starter, I think he gets hurt again. But I think him being a rotational piece behind Queen and behind Peyton Wilson,
Some
I
guys,
think he can make the whole year. I think I think the wear and tear of the league is too much on his body. I think he's too much broken down on the lower half of his body. I think you might be right. And I think that's probably why he took the pay cut, knowing like if I want to play, I got to take a significant pay cut and be a backup.
listen, I don't want to take your money, but let's just do an interesting, friendly bet here on the show, Mike. I say that there's no way this guy makes it through the season. No, no, no way. No way. But you know what? Tortilla hits a good point on this. He says we do need to bring back Landon Roberts.
Yeah,
I love a Landon Roberts,
yeah.
even though he is starting to get up there. I got to be honest, Mike. This is the guy. I don't know.
He's a
This guy,
physical presence that you
he's a
need.
physical presence. He's everywhere. He makes big plays. Mike, Landon Roberts. Maybe a season or two contract. Again, he's getting older. He might
Yeah.
go for it. And
Yeah.
again, as far as in the middle of the field, he's one of the most solid players we have.
Yeah, and I think it was Jen said yesterday too. Like it's out there that he wants to come back and he wants to be a Pittsburgh Steeler, and I think they want him back too. I think they'll find a good price for him to come back, and that's a nice linebacking room that you have there with Queen, Wilson, Landon, and Cole Holcomb, and then I certainly hope they get a rookie, Mark Robinson. Great special teams player he's turning out to be, but I want someone who can play linebacker too and be a special teams guy.
We gave Robinson more than
He
enough
had a
opportunity.
chance. He had a chance when
And the guy was a hitter. Don't get me wrong.
He was a
Mark
hitter.
Robinson,
He made some plays on
ring
defense.
your bell, but he just never made it onto the field, Mike.
Yeah, it like a guy who's played running back forever to be switching to linebacker his senior year. And then now, I get why they did it in like what the 6th, 7th round. That's when you take flyers on guys like this because if they hit, awesome. If they don't, oh well. And he was productive. He was a special teams player, and those guys are important in the league. So it wasn't a bad pick. You just
back to
hope
some
more.
of these messages, Mike. We are getting running late on time here. Let me get all the way back to Caleb. Caleb says, "Did you see the LeBron beat?" I did not. What's going on with that? I did not see that.
LeBron confronted him on the sidelines, and I think it has to do with he was talking shit about LeBron. He's like, okay, whatever. But while he was doing that, he's showing Bronny highlights in the background, like dragging LeBron's kid into it when like the beef was just between them. No need to bring someone else into it. It's a one-on-one beef. Keep it that way.
Oh, I mean, you don't want to drag a young kid into it, but I guess anything is game when you have all adults. Mark Malone says, I think we stand put, draft Genty or Golden in the first round.
I like
Mike. You know what? I think a lot of people like Mark Golden, Matt Golden. But Genty, why does everybody have him getting past the 20th pick? Mike, and I understand people don't draft running backs like they used to in the first round, and especially in the first 20 sometime, but you get a top guy like this. I mean, the guy was a Heisman candidate. The guy rushed for, the yards he had last year. Why does this guy keep getting past 20 for a lot of people? Mike, I'm just not understanding. Somebody would want him. I mean, come on. There's a bad teams 1 through 10. Nobody needs a running back.
Right. They need running backs. It's the way the position has been devalued. But you saw in Philly, you get a game-breaking running back. It can totally change your offense because the passing game ain't working. You have a good offensive line. We're just going to fucking run the ball down your goddamn throat. Like Genty, like for a lot of teams would make sense. Like Dallas has a decent O-line. They need a running back. If I'm Dallas, I'd take him in the first round.
I hear Najee Harris is on their radar in Dallas.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Let's see. We got to keep moving along. Tortilla says, I think he goes early round 2. Whoever don't get Ward or Sanders is probably looking at him as a possible option. Talking about Dart, he says, if we can land Dart, though, him and Arthur Smith can be solid. At least last year, you have every reason to think that. Need to bring back Roberts. We got that. Also, Corey, I think this one is about Cole Holcomb. He says, I could see a season-ending calf injury. The injuries moved down the body. It seems like calf and the Achilles seem to be in order. And then Mark Malone says probably a pretty safe bet. I think that's going back on something else, not that particular comment.
Might have been a Landon or Holcomb getting hurt again. It might be a safe bet.
All right, we do got some things we got to get through here, Mike. Yeah. These two cornerbacks, Mike, at one time were a pretty dominant duo. And I'm not talking about that long ago. I'm talking about Darius Slay Jr. and James Bradbury, both no longer going to be with the Philadelphia Eagles. Mike, does anybody in that particular group of guys, those two men, do they fit what we're looking for in our secondary? Because, again, these two guys have played some Super Bowls. We cannot stop anybody in the playoffs. What is it about these guys that you don't like?
Pat Pete 2.0. These guys they're old. No, I want to get younger on the defense. I went younger at corner. I think there's much better options at corner than these two guys.
All right, Mike. Just two more stories here till we move forward. Former. Let me go with this one. David DeCastro. Do you remember him, guys? David DeCastro, the longtime lineman, guard for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He is opening a medical marijuana store on the same exact road that Lev Bell and LeGarrette Blount got arrested for. That's right, smoking marijuana.
That is genius.
Talking about being a victim of the times.
Yeah,
with Bell and with Blount, because again. Here we are just 10 years later, dude from the team is literally opening up a place that sells weed exactly where you got arrested, which ultimately ended your career in Pittsburgh. What do you think about that one, Mike?
It's marketing genius. I like it. That's a good move for them. And like you said, it's a victim of their times. Like those two guys. Which
I love both of them being here. I'm going to be honest with you.
Montravius Bryant, the receiver from Cleveland. The really good receiver that kept getting the weed, Josh Gordon. Like, come on now, they're smoking weed. It's not like they're beating their wives and girlfriends. Come on now.
I dig. I
look. It's funny. I think it's just perfect.
Ex-Steeler offensive tackle Zach Banner, Mike. He returns to football. He's signing with the UFL team. We do have the UFL starting at the end of the month, Mike. Of course, the combo league between the XFL and the USFL. Starting, I believe, right around the 20-something of this month. But Zach Banner, remember Zach Banner?
Zach Banner, who claimed to fame was the tackle eligible, and everyone thought he'd be this great right tackle.
Yeah.
And Kevin Colbert gave him a shit ton of money for no reason. Thank God Kevin Colbert's no longer handing out contracts.
And this, Mike, this is finally the NFL quarterback predictions for 2025 by The Athletic. Sometimes I like to pull some of the Athletic work and see what they got going on over there. Mike, there are 22 quarterbacks in the NFL that are locked into their current teams, but the others are what we're going to talk about. This is what The Athletic predicts, Mike. Kind of crazy, I think, but I think nonetheless awful fun to read.
Yeah.
Here we go. It has the Browns taken up with Kirk Cousins. The Browns taking up with Kirk Cousins and Jalen
Oh, my God.
The New York Giants. Aaron Rodgers and Jackson Dart.
I've heard that I've read that numerous places before this article.
Makes me want to punch myself in the face every time I see Jackson Dart going to one of these teams like this. I just want to freak out, man. I'm fixated at this point. Mike, Sam Darnold and Anthony Richardson to the Colts.
I saw
Darnold
that.
And Anthony Richardson.
That would be very interesting up there. Very interesting. That would be a good move for the Colts. I think Sam Darnold in that offense would be fun.
The Jets, Justin Fields and Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor.
Oh, God. No, I can't wait to see what kind of has-been we get.
And finally, which makes it even a bigger question, what you just said, the Athletic has Russell Wilson with the Raiders, which I don't think is out of the question. Pete Carroll.
I don't think so either. With Pete Carroll, yeah.
So just an interesting, again, NFL predictions for quarterbacks in 2025 by way of the Athletic, Mike. So those are interesting. Again, I don't know. I don't know if that holds any weight at all. Nonetheless, I thought it was entertaining. But Mike, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody about the website?
The2dumyinzers.com. Check it out, everyone. We got the merch store over there. We got all of our links over there. Got the blog over there. And today, brand new mock draft. Yeah, so check it out, man.
It's not all the quarterbacks again, is it?
It's not the all quarterback ones. It's not another poster of Jim Allen or Jim Palmer. Jim Palmer, excuse me. I don't know why I said Jim Allen, but yeah, go check it out.
That's going on your Doge report, Mike. Don't you worry.
I know. I hate to see yours. Justin Wilson.
No.
Yeah.
They're not watching me. They're watching you.
Why am I under the microscope?
But do go check everything out over there. www.the2dumyinzers.com. That's www.the2dumyinzers.com. Lots and lots and lots of cool things going on over there. As Mike said, he does put up a new mock draft every Monday, all the way up into the draft. So go check it out, guys. Again, www.the 2dumyinzers.com. Mike, today I'm throwing you a softball, and let me tell you why. It's getting warm. We're moving the clocks ahead, which means it's going to be light out later in the day. I like this. We're coming up on free agency next week in the NFL. So I felt the need to throw you a softball today. So today's question, guys, Mike, put on your thinking caps. Everybody on the board, everybody at home. Today's question is about Steeler running backs. Steeler running backs, something that most people that are Steeler fans know a lot about. And that is going to be the question of the day, Mike. Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. So this is what I need from you. Name the top 5 Steeler running backs by yards. Not in order, no particular order, but just 1 through 5 Steeler running backs overall. Take a minute to think that over. We're live 5 days a week, right here, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every day right here on YouTube. Mike, the question of the day, let me kind of, I don't know if it was confusing or not. I just need the top 5 Steeler quarterbacks by yards, top 5 rushers, not in any order. Question of the day, name the top 5 Steeler running backs.
By yardage. Okay. All right. We're going to go with Jerome Bettis.
Okay. Check.
Let's go with Franco Harris.
Correct.
Was Willie Parker up there?
I don't know. You have to tell me. You
Let's
want to go with Willie
Parker.
Okay.
Lev Bell.
Check. And one more. That's 4 guesses, Mike. As of right now, for naming the top 5 Steeler running backs of all time by yards, not in any particular order, you have Franco Harris, Jerome Bettis, Willie Parker, Le'Veon Bell, and one more pick will give you 5, and we'll then see how you did. Jen on the board says Bettis, Bell, and Parker. So that's 3 guys.
The only other one coming to my mind is Barry Foster, but I don't think he played long enough. But fuck it, Barry Foster.
All right, Barry Foster. Is that your 5? Is that your 5 picks?
Wait,
Franco.
No, I'm gonna change that. Let's put Connor, James Conner up there.
James Conner over who?
Over Barry Foster.
All right. So you got your 5 picks in. Tortilla says Bettis, Franco, Parker, Bell, and then he says, I don't know, maybe Richard.
Right?
Number 5 stuff. Number 5
Rocky
stuff.
Blyer. I know he ran the ball a lot.
Let me tell you who you got right.
Okay.
Just as Bell, Bettis, Parker on Jen's picks, and same with Tortilla. He has they have Bettis, Franco, Parker, Bell. Mark Malone's throwing in some Merrill Hodge in there. But you, Mike, you've picked Franco Harris, Jerome Bettis, Willie Parker, Le'Veon Bell, and James Conner as your top 5.
Yeah.
All right. Final answer. You're locked into place. Mike, you are almost correct all the way through. Franco Harris, of course, being the top in yards by a Steeler running back. Jerome Bettis, of course, being number 2. Willie Parker being number 3. Lev Bell being number 4. And Mike, the spot where you changed from Barry Foster to James Conner, you should have stuck with your initial thought. Barry Foster is number 5 all time on the Steelers rushing list. Again, Franco, Busty, Fast Willie, Lev Bell, and Bananas. Remember Myron Kobe's called Bananas Foster.
Yeah.
So there you go, guys. Top 5 all time.
Damn. I had it, then I second guessed myself. Fuck.
You know what? The one thing I remember about Barry that I loved, he wasn't here that long, but he ended up becoming the first. I don't remember if it was the first NFL or the first Steeler. I think it was the first Steeler running back to ever have 12 100-yard games in a season. Ooh. And I'll always remember that because I was roughly 13 years old, and I was really into my sports, and as a kid. Yeah. And I'll never forget that number, Mike, because he had 12 out of 16 games. 100 yards was a big deal back then. But he does round out the top of the list, Mike, or the bottom of the list with the number 5. Again, Franco, JB, Willie, Le'Veon, and Barry Foster. So, yeah, you know it. I mean, you hit it. You just changed
I hit it, but I was like, I didn't know how long he was here. I know Connor had a couple
Yeah, he was
when
Palmer was
Bell
tough.
was
Yeah.
out. So yeah,
But Barry was really, really good. I think
he was really
he had
damn good.
more. There was more to be desired because he was here for I think 3 years. After they had the 3 more yards game,
Yeah,
he was no longer on the team. Then we went to the Super Bowl the following year, and we had Bam
yeah.
Morse, Pegram. I think we should have hung on to Barry. Like I said,
Eh,
I think that he could have a great career in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he had a really nasty ankle injury,
It was an
and
injury, yeah.
yeah, and he was not the
I think he went to
same after.
Carolina after he wasn't anything
Yeah, it
after
just
that.
wasn't the same.
But in his first 3 years, he had again the 1,200 yard games. He also had um, what they do? They went to the 3 more yards. He was
Yep.
like I said, he was a beast. If he would have stayed around, stayed healthy, I would have loved to kept Barry Foster in Pittsburgh. Mike, anything we do start getting ready to wrap it up for the weekend, dude?
Um, look, the Commanders released Jonathan Allen, big old defensive tackle. I, I, I don't know if the Steelers should look at him if they can get him dirt cheap. Take a look at
Why
him.
is it? Let me ask you this: do we want to stop looking at dirt cheap? I mean, I understand you
He,
want more.
he
Listen to
looks,
what I'm saying. Listen
yeah,
to what I'm going to say. You need more money, obviously, to bring more players in.
yeah,
But at some point, shouldn't we stop looking at dirt cheap to try to
yeah.
make this team a little better than we have the past
Like,
couple
yeah,
years, Mike?
we should. And the reason I'm saying dirt cheap, like he had a monster contract with Washington, and I just don't want to pay him that type of money. Like,
I mean, if it was coming
he's
out of my pocket, I would be like, oh yeah, well let's just get the cheap.
yeah,
But you know what? At the end of the day, I don't see any of this
any my
money.
money, but no, like I just kick the tires, like see if he has something there. I think a team's going to overpay for him. But I just saw that on Twitter and a lot of Steeler accounts. Reporters like, Steelers should take a look. Steelers should take a look. Our D line coach was his D line coach in college. Like, but the production hasn't been there for him for a couple years. If we're gonna get a veteran defensive lineman, I'd rather it be Hargrave than Allen.
Yeah.
But that's just like the big news I saw. I haven't seen any more. Penguins haven't made any more trades, so.
Caleb said these Red Lobster snow crab legs aren't bad. I mean, I could sure go for some Red Lobster. I love shellfish. I love lobster, crab, all that stuff, man. I just they just don't have it enough. I do want to remind everybody to check out tonight. Check out tonight 9:30 right here on the Two Dumb Yinzer YouTube network. You could always come back at 9:30 and check out Finch and Tim with the Two Cranky Jagoffs. They last week, Mike, they were on for about a 2-hour block. So
Yeah.
come by, check out the guys. They last week they had a top 100 sports uniforms in pro sports, which was really cool. I really dug that. So check out the guys tonight, 9:30. Finch and Tim, Two Cranky Jagoffs. Right here, I'll probably be by at some point. I think I tried to swing by at least for every show that they did so far since they started up about 6 weeks ago. Stop by, chat, hang out. Tonight, 9:30, the Two Cranky Jagoffs.
Always a fun time with those two.
Absolutely. I love them. And they had extra help the other week. They had extra another guy in there. It was a lot of fun. So do check them out tonight at 9:30 right here.
Check it out.
I do want to say thank you to everybody for coming and hanging out and checking us out today. We certainly appreciate each and every one of you. We really, truly, honestly do. We wouldn't do it without you. Thank you so much to every single one of you. I want to say thank you to everybody on the board. You guys always keep things interesting right here on the show, and everybody at home watching as well, or at work, or wherever you may be. I do want to thank you as well. Mike, there's a bunch going on this weekend, starting with about 1 o'clock today, with a lot of our high school teams starting their state playoff runs. So I know a lot of people from the area, they're out of town. They're going to these different cities near the middle of the state, things like that. Everybody be careful, be safe, have a safe trip. And to those players, for the guys and the gals teams, bring back that gold to the Western Pennsylvania area. We support you guys and are behind every one of those teams that I mentioned earlier, Mike, and a lot more. Again, a lot of teams from the Pittsburgh area going on to play in state hoops tournament tonight. So good luck to all those teams, gals and guys. Bring home the gold. And again, as I said earlier, the Pitt Panthers finish up tomorrow, Mike, 6 p.m. They wrap it up against Boston College. About time. Penguins play 2 games throughout the weekend. Tonight they play the Las Vegas Golden Knights. That game's at 10 o'clock p.m. And then back at it on Sunday at 3:30. They go to Minnesota to face the Wild. Pirates are back at it also throughout the entire weekend. Mike, on today at 1:05 they play Philly. Tomorrow at 1:05 they play Atlanta. And on Sunday they wrap up the weekend with a 1:05 game against the Detroit Tigers. And other than that, Mike, we have next week, Wednesday at 4 o'clock, what we've been waiting for months now.
Oh, God, I can't wait.
Free agency opens up at 4 o'clock on Wednesday. We're going to be, heavy into free agency next week. Probably very little besides that. So if you love free agency, you love to see what the Steelers are going to get. It's almost like opening Christmas morning. I often described it as, Mike, for myself, seeing what kind of new presents and toys are going to be under the tree.
Exactly.
It's hard to sleep the night before,
It is too, man. Well, you got the legal tampering period.
Legal tampering.
I can't wait. I that's my favorite, legal tampering.
And also this, Mike, and again, between now and then, a lot of things could happen. As you've seen yesterday, Christian Kirk going to Houston. You've seen Deebo Samuel moving across the country, guys. Trey Hendrickson requesting a trade from Cincinnati. So, it's very possible that any given time there may be some pretty big NFL news, and we will stay on top of all that for Monday morning, because it's going to be, like I said, heavy on free agency. We'll, recap some of these things. Again, Pitt's finishing up, things like that. So a lot of news Monday morning. I hope that you join us then at our regular time. Mike, anything else, brother? Anything else? Don't forget to change your clocks ahead. That's the only
change your clocks ahead. And hell yeah, drink up.
My thing about the clocks ahead is this. I like this because I don't have to now change my car clock back.
It's just right there. You're good to go. See, you planned ahead. You planned ahead. That's forward thinking of you.
I thought of this way back in September, whenever the hell that was.
Lazy. You're just,
November.
thinking ahead.
But I believe that be it, Mike. Yep. Speak now, forever hold your peace, bro.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
And Tortilla, I love that idea. And I thought Mike was just talking nonsense for a second, but I
sneaked it.
Tortilla says, hell yeah, about to drink a beer on my lunch break. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to my factory workers. I hope you have a great weekend, Tortilla, as well as everybody else on the board. You guys are awesome. Kicked ass all week, man. We appreciate each and every one of you. We really did. Thank you so much. For Mike in the Steeler Central Mobile Studio, myself, the Two Dumb Yinzers. We'll be back first thing Monday morning. Again, don't forget to check out the guys tonight, 9:30, Two Cranky Jagoffs right here. For Mike, myself, the Two Dumb Yinzers, everybody have a great, safe